Now, I have seated with me Reverend Kakari Ano. He's the head pastor of Christian Center Assemblies of God. And today we are going to get talking about the role that, or I shouldn't even call it the role, but when you have Christ in you, if you're a Christian, if you have the Holy Spirit in you, how does that contribute to political decision making? Interesting, isn't it? Now, because it is election year, we've got a wide range or an array of prophecies here and there, things being said here and there in relation to the elections. But truly, when it comes to the Christian body, how does that affect it? What really happens? So we want to get into that conversation. A little later, Reverend is going to let us know a great event that he has coming up as well. So before that, Rev.
Yeah.
I know that you've heard so many things. It's election year. Anyways, good morning. You're welcome.
Thank you.
How are you?
Yeah, very well.
Okay.
Yeah.
You've heard and seen so many things since it's election year.
Yeah.
Yeah. But really, the first question I want to ask you is, do you believe that it is necessary for a Christian, or let's say a prophet or a man of God, to have some level of say publicly as to how things should go politically or when it comes to elections?
Yeah, I believe we have to get involved. It's always good for men of God in the church to also be involved in politics.
Oh.
I remember some years back in the Bible school when I was having my first degree in theology, I wrote thesis on democracy, the role of the church.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I wrote something like that. That is around 2009 or so.
Okay.
Yeah. And I came across a whole lot of things, coming back from the days of Rawlings, then to Kufuor and all that put together, and some of the things that some of the men of God said about all these politicians and all that. But I think that right from the Old Testament, the days of David, Saul, Samuel, Nathan, and all those days, you had...
When God wanted to appoint a king, he did it through a prophet.
Through a prophet.
Yes.
Yeah, God did it through a prophet, where someone had to go and, when the people requested for a king, anoint Saul to be the next king. And although he was not the man after God's heart, but the people demanded, then came David. But then, you see, in all these circumstances, God actually, the prophet were led to the people, or the one who was supposed to receive the prophecy. He goes to the family, announced to them, then it becomes a public kind of, conversation and all that. Coming into the New Testament, okay, where we have Christ coming into the picture, I think that the prophets and the apostles and all those were more focused on the gospel than kingship, than who will be chosen as a leader. The only place we hear of them talking about is that Paul said I should pray for the leaders.
Okay.
You should pray for the leaders so that they will not bring up laws that will also come and be kind of a burden onto the church and the Christians.
All right.
So in the New Testament, you did not actually see prophets going out there to say this one will win, or this one is the next king, or the next, leader, or all that, because the focus was about Christ. And
it was about the word.
About the word, yeah. But then we are supposed to also pray for leaders.
Right.
And that was the mandate given to us in the New Covenant or in the New Testament. That was what we were supposed to do, not to go out there and say who is going to win. But in any case, there is always the dispensation and the generation. There's always a different way of going about it during every dispensation. Now we are in a certain political dimension where you have political parties. So God will also deal with us in a different way.
Yeah, because the next question I was going to ask you is, looking at how things were during the Old Testament time, and then now the New Testament, the direction, God had, sort of like changed the direction of his servants, of his people.
Yeah.
And it was more focused on the works of Christ rather than who's going to be king and all of that. So would you have said that, looking at how things are today, God is really invested on who is going to lead the country or who is going to be elected as president?
God is interested. Once it is God's people, God is interested. The core thing will always remain that God will speak to his people. Now, the question that we need to ask ourselves is that those times, the Old Testament, they had the office of the prophet, where you have to go and do consultations and other things. The New Testament, as to whether the prophetic office is there or not, it is still part of the the pastors, prophets, evangelists, apostles, and all that. It's still there. But then this time around, there's nothing like going for consultation. It is about the Holy Spirit inside of you so that you get to know what the Lord is saying to everyone, not going for consultation. Yeah, so now, as to how God will deal with us in the New Testament, we will have to pray and ask God to give us a leader who will be a blessing unto the nation. What we're experiencing now, why we are having the problem is that it's like we are having a political party, maybe A, prophets, and B, prophets. Okay, so now we are torn between a certain kind of dilemma, whether to, who is telling us the truth?
Exactly.
Who is having the right prophecy and all that? That is the problem we have
That's
now.
what I was going to ask next, because like, right now, we have we have great men of God.
I remember about 2 years ago, I had an issue with one prophet on this same platform, Joy Prime. And when I said that the prophet was a joke, it became an issue.
Oh.
Yeah, I think.
But what did you do?
Yeah, he's my friend. I don't want to mention it. Yeah, he's a friend. But he got angry, though, that I said it was a joke because of the prophecy he gave during 31st night and all that. And I think that now it's becoming more of, say it. If it doesn't happen...
Say it to please the people. Say it to please the political parties that they are affiliated to.
That is what is happening now, because it is the same Holy Spirit giving different prophecies.
How is that? How is that even possible? Why should the Holy Spirit be giving different prophecies?
So now we have to wait till, say, 8th and 9th December to know...
Exactly what the Holy Spirit had said earlier.
Okay.
So who is lying now?
We cannot tell. Maybe I'll have to mention some names. I think now the ones that are trending is between Reverend Kusi Boateng
and Reverend
Owusu Bempah.
Yes.
I remember previously they were always on one side. Now they are divided. As for the other people, they were always on one side. But Reverend Kusi and Reverend Owusu Bempah were always on one side. Now they are divided. So now we are waiting to see whose prophecy will come to pass. and
so
then
it's become like a competition now.
I don't know if we have to call it competition, but that is the reality now. That is what we are having now. You see, the problem is that anytime you give a prophecy concerning a nation, you must always see just get to know that, have I gone beyond that level to get to know what happened within a nation? It's very dangerous. If God has not given you that mandate, you have to be very careful. And you see, prophecies has two things in place, whether conditional or it is not conditional. If it is conditional, then the Holy Spirit will say that if they do this and that, then they will win. But when you come out and say they will win, no matter what, then it has to come to pass. It's not when the people when they start counting the results start coming out and you realize that the person is losing and say, no, they were not vigilant. that one doesn't even come in. It doesn't come in there. Once we say they will win, whether they are vigilant or not,
they should win.
They should win. That is what we are waiting for. But there's also a thin line between winning and being declared as the president. You can win and still not be declared as president in Africa. So if you say he will be the next president, then whatever that happens, the person should be the next president.
What of the probability that you have said that God says, you heard clearly that God says party A or party B is going to win? It's going to lose.
It's going to lose,
But then you come later and you say, okay, if you do it could reverse that loss for you to win.
Yeah, it is possible. You see, it's not like God changes his mind, but sometimes what he said might be different from what he's saying now. God is the same person who told Nathan to go and tell Ezekiel that he's going to die. After Ezekiel has pleaded with God, God said, now go back and give a different prophecy. You're the same person. So God wanted to kill the Israelites. Moses goes before God and plead with God, and God said, now I've changed my mind. I'm not going to do it again. So now God will say, Mahama is going to win. Then in the process, which nobody knows any relationship that you have with God, he said, I've changed my mind. Now this person is going to win. But you, the prophet, you must see beyond all these things that you are talking about, beyond 9th December. That is what you are saying. So anything that you have said now, if it happens that you don't change your mind until 7 December, 8 December, 9 December, when the elections are declared and the person loses or wins, then you have not given us the true prophecy. It's a lie. That is where we have issues with you now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
There are some now. Let me please. What your name? So that I can mention. Yeah. Now the funny thing we're having is that it's like it's become so common that everybody is saying anything.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, if it doesn't happen, I'll just come and say, no, the thing it was supposed to be this way, but they stole the elections. And I'm saying that if it is God who spoke to you that this person will be declared the president of the nation, nobody can steal the elections. Not even the EC.
Okay.
They cannot change it.
Okay. All right. Well, your fingers crossed, and we are hoping that indeed what God has destined, or who God has destined to be the next president of the nation come December, after December 7th, 8th, or 9th, would be announced duly. I want you to give your final words, but then before that, two things. First one, what would you say, or what advice would you give to Ghanaians who are torn between whom to believe when it comes to these prophecies, torn between these two men of God?
You see, it is sad that we are having this situation, and it's also paved the way for a lot of people to insult prophets and men of God. And I think that we should start doing our things well, and also to the youth. I would say that they shouldn't allow any politician to push them. Yesterday, I was watching your news, Parliament, and I saw what was happening there, and it's like they were joking. I think they are taking us for granted. These leaders and these people that they have as politicians, they are joking with us and they are joking with the future of the youth. I don't think they care so much. I travel outside and I see what is happening there. We come back and it's like these people are just taking us for granted. And still, we still have some of the youth moving around there to go and fight for these people. I'll be the last person in this world to ever argue about any politician. I didn't come to talk about politics. I would have my emotions would have flooded because of the things I've seen and some of these things that I see around. It's annoying. Nobody should ever fight for any politician. You go vote. After that, come back to your room and sleep.
And be with your family and enjoy your family.
This is an employment for somebody's father who will later on come back and sleep with your girlfriend that you are about to marry. And you are out there going to fight for this man. Who doesn't even care about your road, about anything? I don't even know why the people even fight for them. I don't know why they do that. I don't know why they even waste their time fighting for these people.
Reverend, I said you want to shake tables this morning.
No. That is why I said I came to talk about my program. I don't want to go there.
Yes,
because of that. Nobody, listen, I believe that choosing any of these 12 parties, I look at the two. These are two evils. Go for the lesser evil. Now, the lesser evil is anybody with any policy that will benefit me if I am not able to get the political money, like maybe the $1 million and all that, at least a policy that will benefit me, even one. So I look at the two parties, okay, this one at least comes out with a policy that even if I'm not close to the politician, I will enjoy it. I choose that one.
So who would be the lesser evil to you then?
I don't know.
I just want to say you do know. No. But I love the advice that you've thrown out there that both evil or right, but they choose the lesser evil. I love that about what you say. So thank you so much for your time this morning.